If you don't know much about Laslo Djere, he's about the same height as Novak, listed at 6'2". Strong athlete, good baseliner. Ted, I like his two-handed backhand. Seems like there's something in the water over there in the Baltics. Their backhands seem to consistently be excellent. His forehands, it can be potent, but it's a little bit of a fabricated shot. It's not a natural flowing swing. I expect Novak will probably challenge that side a fair bit tonight. Serve for a guy his size, Djere, is probably not quite as strong as he'd like it to be, but maybe that's a byproduct of him preferring clay courts. And a lot of times players that do like the red stuff, they like to kick that serve and start the point with a geographic advantage rather than try and end the point.
I like that, a geographic advantage.
You know, you do this long enough, Ted, you got to find new ways to describe the same darn thing.
Can't just say high ball one.
Yep.
15-13.
The other dynamic, I've often wondered about this, because we know, like, how loyal Djokovic is, as well as his fellow countrymen, to their country. What's the dynamic playing each other? For Novak in particular.
I would have to imagine that the closeness of their two matches is probably because of the amount that Djere has had access on the practice court to him to get comfortable. Right, the aura would be different because they would be closer than most. Novak would let him in. They would be on national teams together.
Say Davis Cup play.
They've been rowing in the same direction for some weeks, for a while.
Were you the captain in Boise?
I was.
Yeah, so that's...
Thanks for reminding me of another stinging loss when the U.S. was defeated by Novak.
I remember being there, calling it, and how, again, Novak and Troitsky, and I forget who else was on the team, but they made the trek to Boise because they cared that much about Davis.
They did. And Novak injured himself playing Query, rolled his ankle, and still gutted out a win. And then got on someone's private plane from Serbia and flew back to Monte Carlo. That was a big sacrifice for him, but worth it. And he's proven that over time, willing to push for the greater good of Serbia.
Let's get it.
Same thing happened. They closed the roofs here, and I was in Armstrong, and Francis Tiafoe had a hard time. He talked about it openly. The changing conditions affected him.
Yeah, it's so humid when the roof closed. Of course, I think most of us really harken back to that match where John Millman rose to the fore and defeated Roger Federer under the roof here, and Federer seemed like he was more fatigued in that match than I recall him ever. Just the humidity sapped him.
30 love.
Looked like it. Well, it looked like what I'm sure it was for him. He looked like he spent 4 hours in a sauna.
Yeah, exactly. And Millman was fit and fast and refused to miss and shook hands a winner.
30 all.
Early chance for Novak to break here. Djere spent a lot of time on the clay this season, as much as he could, but he did get one match on the hard court en route to this tournament. Winston-Salem lost to the young American Zach Zvida in the first round there. That's one more match on the hard courts this summer than Novak played en route to this tournament. Novak didn't play Canada. Didn't play Cincinnati, just opted to rest, celebrate, enjoy, and then come in refreshed. Do you think that's a good move, Ted?
Well, it's not the first time he's done that. At this point, it's quality, not quantity, I would suspect.
Yeah, without a doubt. How do you not stay in Serbia and celebrate with all your fellow Olympians?
Which he did.
That's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Well, Jim, so Zheng Qinwen last week flew to Beijing for the same thing. The government brought her back to honor her for her gold medal.
Yeah.
Not the ideal prep for the US Open.
No, but everything considered, considering the issue with the meniscal tear in his knee and what the challenge that hard courts have on players' bodies, overall, I think the right move, period.
Survives another break point here, but there's a long-running phrase that I've heard in the basketball world. When players have played a certain amount of basketball and they've gotten to a certain point, they'll say, listen, I can give it to you in practice, or I can give it to you in a game. I can't give it to you in both.
Advantage, Djere. Game, Djere.
That's a nice hold from Laslo to get going, and while things are nice and dry and safe inside here, getting a little bit dicey outside, a little lightning in the area. They've had to stop down out on grandstand. So, advantage to Louis Armstrong Stadium and Arthur Ashe Stadium, a chance to continue playing here. Hopefully this little front will pass through fairly quickly, but it is supposed to bring cooler climate behind it.
I believe that's the only other court that's in play other than the two covered, Ashe and Armstrong. By the way, the match that has been stopped, that's Casper Ruud. Gael Monfils. Ruud was up 2 sets, but Monfils took the third. They're on serve in the fourth.
Monfils coming in off with that burst of confidence, having taken out Alcaraz in Cincinnati.
Didn't have any influence with the scheduling because Svitolina played at the same time. On a different court, obviously. Svitolina won her match, and she will play Coco Gauff on Friday.
There's some popcorn involved. Novak not always as comfortable with the movement at the net as he is these days in his career, but this was just perfect. Just read the play, great defense, and then goes into attack mode here. Chip and charge, holds the line, and then streaks cross court. He knows his friend and opponent well. Talking about Djokovic not having a tournament in advance of this on the hard courts to get used to it, but he's so accomplished and so at ease on this surface that with the best of 5 format, Ted, it just gives him so much of a cushion to work his way into a groove. He hasn't worked his way into a groove on serve just yet. Only made 2 of 9 first serves, so still work to do there. And that was in the upper third of the net, but nowhere close to the tape. That was a bad miss.
Djere would say the same about that return. But it's that dynamic, Jim, that touching on it. You know, at some point, how much prep and practice can Djokovic do and then still have enough to play 7 5-setters? Roger, Rafa, they all have remarkably played long enough to have to face that challenge.
Rifle forehand there from Laslo. That was a ripper. But to answer your question, I think the most important thing is going to be body maintenance for him, right? Maintaining the endurance levels, which have been a challenge for him at times this year, to be fair. In the clay court season, early in the clay, he was struggling with his endurance, and then had the odd thing happen in Rome where the bottle hit him in the head, gave him a concussion from all that we could see. It's been a weird old season for Djokovic, but he's turned the corner on it.
This is a bizarre start. I mean, we just saw Coco Gauff win a match with a very low serve percentage. Djokovic here has started this match 2 of 12 first serves.
You can hear the rumble of the thunder. Definitely weather. It's going to get a little louder in here as the rain starts to pelt the roof. There's a good delivery. Nice sliding serve.
Advantage Djokovic.
Djokovic with double wristbands on. That is a concession to the humidity. He prefers not to play with those on, just like he prefers not to play with a hat. But if it's sunny, he'll put one on. If it's humid, you'll see those wristbands. He'll play with one on his right, but the doubles definitely not his favorite. He's going to go get a towel here. Both players perspiring mightily so far.
That's what I was going to get to with you, that the muggy factor is really going to elevate. And if you just joined the Open here on the 3rd night of play, the ball crew not allowed to deal with the towels. Players had to get used to that when they started on Monday. Djokovic there and hits the long ball.
Advantage, Djere.
A long two-game sequence here.
Yes.
Novak had 2 break points to take a 2-love lead, couldn't secure them, and now it's a chance for the boomerang from Djere. Finds a first serve, though.
Juice. Advantage, Djere. Juice.
Saved 2 break points in his game, and now Novak is matched.
Delivered 2 nice first serves up the tee when he needed them. So slowly starting to make a few more first serves. 6 of 18 so far. By the way, 19 minutes of play so far, nearly 3 games.
Kind of a labored pace here.
You're going to get that because of the reason you mentioned the players are servicing themselves with the towels, which was the name of the game since COVID struck until this summer. The ATP reinstituted the ball kids could hand players towels. So they've had some tournaments where they've been able to keep things flowing a little bit more. But it's this is a huge court. That's a long walk to the 4 corners where the towels are. That definitely adds 4, 5, 6, sometimes 8 seconds that it takes away from the players in between points.
Finally, Djokovic able to put that game away. 20 minutes to play the first 3 games. Both men survive threats on their serve.
It's been a wild ride for Novak this season, Ted. I was in Perth, Australia when he started his year at the United Cup early, right around New Year's. And he was in a reasonably good mood, but he was, I think, still a little tired from the effort at the end of the season to try and win another Davis Cup for Serbia, which ended at the hands of Italy in the semifinals. But he didn't get a lot of rest. He was busy. And that was a truncated off season for him. And one of the reasons he played that tournament was for commercial reasons. He has a business partnership with a water bottle company and a water drink. and they were in the intermittent time between the U.S. Open and the Tour Finals.
And you'd expect he would play those.
I would expect he would play Shanghai, based on what he said.
Right.
Paris indoor, most likely, and certainly in
Masters,
Torino.
right.
Yeah.
He's just in the building, I guess, where they're moving the indoors to. It's just there if the Olympic swimming was held.
Right.
It's a very impressive arena.
La Défense, that area.
Not a part of Paris you really want to go to. It's not Paris, but the arena is terrific.
Yeah,
it'll be a nice hosting site for the event.
Look gorgeous on TV.
So here's the Djokovic backstory, and then there's the Djere backstory that's fascinating because the name has resurfaced. Although it's not listed on the ATP website, there's plenty of stories that confirm Djere's hired Mariano Puerta as his coach.
Yeah, that's interesting.
How about that?
Yeah.
Apparently back in the spring, with a longtime coach, Djere, they parted ways. Puerta was apparently doing some work with Brandon Nakashima. Djere said a mutual agent introduced the two of them. Now they're working.
That's interesting.
I have not heard that name. Of course, Mariano Puerta is the trivia question. The first finalist in Rafa Nadal's 14 Roland Garros championships. And then his career ended in a bad doping scandal, which he later admitted he lied in his defense, trying to reduce his suspension.
Well, Djere needs something to kickstart his year because he's having a tough one. Just 6 tour level wins. Faces 2 break points here. Again at 1-2. Serve not easy for anybody tonight. Pops a nice ace there, though. Djere, he's played a lot this year, but he did have his clay court season truncated after Monte Carlo. He had an arm injury there. He was playing Tsitsipas, had to retire, and they didn't play again till Roland Garros.
Juice.
Wow. How about that?
So there's darts back to back here. So that's 4 break points now that Djere has saved.
Advantage, Djere.
Djere last year, Ted won 36 matches at tour level, reached the finals of Hamburg, which is a big tournament, ATP 500 level. Zverev got him there, but he finished 33 in the world. Strong. But his ranking has been in free fall this year. Just 6 tour level wins. Been a real struggle for him.
Very impressive 4-point string there by Djere to come back from 15-40.
Djokovic is already
2 games
needs
all.
new wristbands. He's already worn through those with sweat. And I've been through that before. They get heavy with perspiration. They start to fall down on your wrists and bother you when you're swinging because you lose range of motion. This is going to be interesting too because Djokovic is playing with the knee brace on that he's needed since having that surgery post Roland Garros, but he hasn't been playing in this type of humidity with that knee brace on it. I'm wondering how it's going to do when it gets wet and heavy with sweat.
You can
wonder if he has multiple. I would imagine he has a ton of those available if he needs to change it out.
By the way, you can use the hashtag US Open. You saw the platforms there, all of them: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, WhatsApp. Follow the US Open. Again, hashtag US Open. Small things that, like we've seen so far, Jim, are the ones I wonder about, because look, the guy remarkably made the finals in Wimbledon with the knee, and then comes back and wins the gold in Paris. But small things like that last game where the prime Djokovic doesn't let a guy off the hook, or doesn't allow him to escape. Well done there.
15 all.
I don't think Novak's very far off of his prime. I just think that the conditions are a part of the factor right now that are probably distracting him from fully locking in with his concentration. If he's worried about his wristbands at 2-all in the first set, when's the last time you've seen him change a wristband at an even game? I've never seen it.
Yeah.
I don't want to put too much stock in it, but it's an indicator that there's more happening here than a normal US Open match for him. His conditions are a little bit different. Just so heavy once the roof is closed. So humid.
All right, so a court that is designed to play medium fast. How will it play?
15.
It'll play much slower because the balls are going to get heavier, right? The humidity is going to seep into the felt of the balls, so there will be a big difference in how they're able to attack with new balls compared to the end of the lifespan of these. They're just going to get heavy, and it's going to be hard to finish points. This is going to be extremely physical for these players. Even if it becomes one-way traffic, they're going to have to work hard to finish points. Pickle juice will need to be deployed at some point, probably. But for one of these guys, I mean, they're going to need to fuel and fuel and fuel, because they're going to be losing so much water and all the minerals out of the sweat. How many shirts will they go through? Tons. This is a heavy laundry day.
Away with the help of that ball off the net cord, and it's a hold. So
Djokovic leads by 3 games to 2.
For what Jim just said, nothing's been easy so far. I'm assuming Djokovic is in the same boat.
to that point that Novak, if he's flat on the court and he needs something to really engage him, his ears become like antennas, and he is listening for anybody who's cheering for his opponent. And once he locks in on somebody, that's it. He is off to the races. It's the last thing you would want to see as his opponent. This is the last 2 games they'll play with the first set of 6 tennis balls. So this will be the heaviest that they will be for a while once they get past these games at 4-3 or whatever the score is going to be. It'll be quicker.
Djere.
4-3 for somebody.
3 games old.
Djere's done well to hang in there. He's been challenged, but he's had his chances too.
Well, it's opposite. He's serving 74% is Djere. Djokovic has improved a little bit up to 42. You
can see the wheels turning in Novak's mind. He's already game planning physically now to make sure that he's keeping cool. He's going to be physically sound to get through this, because this looks like it might be a physical one. 37 minutes for 6 games.
Djokovic tonight trying to win overall at the U.S. Open, his 90th career match. That would be second. Only Jimmy Connors, men, has won more.
Where will it end is the question. What we all want to know with Novak. Hopefully not anytime soon. Hopefully he'll stay engaged. I mean, at this point, he's just trying to win his 25th major for fun, right? I mean,
I'm watching this and thinking to what you said a little while ago, Jim, and it feels that way. You don't sense Djere is awed at all by this. Just the familiarity.
Yes.
He would have.
The only time he might be a little bit odd is if he gets into a winning position. Then how does he react? Right? Comfortable in the battle, but actually trying to take the king down.
Yep. You best not miss.
That's what Omar says. Omar wasn't wrong.
40-13. Let's. Juice.
Just 80 miles an hour on that second serve. Pretty conservative. Novak apt to hit it over 100 pretty regularly on second serves. Already up at 11 unforced errors to go with his 8 winners. It's not been clean so far. He's battling. Don't like that ball.
Advantage, Djere.
And the serve just not there. Anywhere near the Djokovic standard. 3 doubles in the set. Just 42%. And now third break chance of this opening set for Djere.
It's 3 service winners on those 3 break points. 2 up the middle to the forehand side. That time goes out wide. These balls look like dogs have been chewing on them at this stage. Roughed up and definitely heavy. Both players heading for the towel after that taxing point.
And as a result, so far in this set, James Kiathalong is doing a nice job. He's not calling the score immediately, understanding what the players have to do. That's the serve clock. Starts a little later.
Juice.
It's a labor of love for the champ tonight.
It does look labor, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It is. He looks that way.
His body's going to be, both of these players are going to be working overtime here just to combat the heat and humidity. that is still inside this building. There's a real opportunity lost from Djere. Had the open court behind him. Djokovic streaking to cover the cross-court pass, knowing that Djere is far more comfortable pulling that ball cross-court than going line, as we all just witnessed. Looks like drinks are being readied. A little powder that will go into a drink to provide some energy for the champ.
Game. Djokovic.
All right, Djokovic puts the game away.
Yubos, please.
Wow, 45 minutes to get to 4-3.
Djokovic leads by 4 games to 3. First set.
Those little powders were just. Might just take a little gander on the old internet and see what it's all about.
Order me one too.
Okay, very good. Hopefully, with Amazon, should be here by tomorrow.
15 love.
Looks like Andy Roddick's GQ or Muscle magazine. You remember that cover that
Yes.
they artificially jacked him up? Men's Health or whatever that was. I was like, Andy, you're not that big. He's like, no, that yeah, they pumped me up. A little extra.
30 love.
It's been fairly different from the standpoint. Djere's he's had a few bobbles on serve, but not much. Djokovic does have 4 breakpoint chances. Djere's only lost 8 points total on serve.
Yeah.
Backhand.
30-15.
Let's see, Leon is physio. Barking instructions at him, I would imagine, to help combat these tricky conditions. It was a tricky start to the year for Novak Djokovic. He got smoked in the semifinals of the Australian Open by Jannik Sinner, the eventual winner, and then went out early in Indian Wells, pulled out of Miami, although he was in town still during the tournament doing some promotional work for some sponsors. And then he and Goran Ivanisevic parted company.
Yes.
That was a real moment. Oh, they've done so much together. On his knees.
Yeah.
Gasping for air. What a shot from Laslo Djere.
Look at that.
40-30.
Just clipped the back of the line on the 23rd shot. A man who's had an amazing career transformation from the young Djokovic that had major issues retiring from matches. The man that was seemed to play for 12 hours.
Game.
We're seeing him show a little vulnerability here.
4 games all.
Yep, you can never count him out.
No.
He finds ways to survive and thrive. That Cincinnati final last year, played in blazing heat and humidity on a Sunday against Alcaraz, nearly 4 hours for a 3-set match. And Djokovic looked like he was out on his feet midway through the match, and he somehow survived it. The shade came over the court, and he got re-energized and took that title and ran right through the field here. But he is gasping and huffing and puffing here at 4-all in the first set. Long way to go.
Yes, it is.
The heat rule was in effect earlier today. It is no longer in effect, so there is no 10-minute break available after the 3rd set for these men, should they get to a 4th set and want one.
Seeing very clear examples of your point about the difficulty in finishing right now.
This ball landing right on the line. Djokovic thought it was out, but no call coming from the electronic line calls. So then he just flashes a backhand winner and catches a piece of the line himself.
Using most of that serve time, no surprise. Now no clock on the second serve. So Monday night, the young man plays first match ever at the U.S. Open. Alex Kovacevic, New York kid that pushed Tiafoe. His story, first tennis match he remembers watching, 2005 U.S. Open. He was 6 years old. This is a first-round match between two 18-year-olds, Gael Monfils and Novak Djokovic.
Remember it well.
Remember it well? I think we called it together.
I believe so.
And it was an incredible 5-setter. Djokovic, at one point, they were concerned he may have been, like, seriously come down with something, and he wound up winning the match 7-5 in the 5th. And that was the start of a run, because that year, just look, Djokovic retired from 3 different matches during that year. It was the year he turned 18.
Yes,
so
he cramped up badly against Monfils, and somehow was able to stay on his feet enough to win that match.
And so you hear our 19 years later, here's a young man that says, that's what I remember, and that got me interested in tennis.
Yeah.
Why the transformation that I referenced a few moments ago is probably gets lost a little bit in the overall Djokovic story, because he was renowned for several years early in his career of retiring. Retired a couple times in majors. Did he ever overcome that?
A little less gluten will do you some good, apparently. Changed his diet, changed his career.
So Djokovic gets the hold for 5-4 now in the first set. But again, just look at it. It's real time, but it looks slow motion. Now look from up top here. Wednesday night of the first week, and they're sitting in the top row of the stadium. Way back when, we didn't think we'd be seeing that.
Well, there was a time when it was widely thought that the stadium was just simply too big. It was too big to fill, and now it's sold out before the first ball is struck. Incredible. truly remarkable.
Yes.
The growth of tennis
It's
since COVID,
yes.
from a playing standpoint. So many people playing the sport, as well as other racket sports like pickleball and paddle and padel and all that. It's wonderful to see people being active in the professional game in the absence of Serena Williams.
Because the demand is there. So create the supply. I'm surprised there's never been a Sunday start here.
Wait for it.
President of the USTA, Arlen Cantarian, who was a big part of his team of building this, filling it, not physically building it, but selling it. Had the idea, and again, we're going back a ways, 15 years or so ago, of having Sunday start only Sunday night and just the two defending champions play. The two defending champs play on Sunday night. Pretty good idea.
It's a great idea. It's still a great idea. I want to table that for a second because it's getting intense here in this set. Djokovic committed a lot of energy into the first point and extracted that, and then Djere just handed him point two. So Novak is making a push now to save himself and some energy and finish this set off. Let's see if he can do it.
Ooh, wow. Got away fast. Djokovic. Good call on the first point, Jim. Djokovic,
6 games to 4.
An hour. Grant, the last 2 games went fast compared to the first 8 of the set. But Djokovic prevails 6-4 and going to be on.
Great outcome for Djokovic in the first set overall, but it definitely extended him. 1 set down, 2 to go.
You would think if there's any abdominal issues, you could see them looking at, it's going to impact serve.
Love 15.
You were saying?
$15 all.
And then he responds. 122. Second ace.
Not sure what the temperature is inside Arthur Ashe Stadium right now, Ted, all factors considered, with the heat, humidity, and the amount of body heat coming off of 23,000 people in the building. But outside, the temperature has dropped nearly 20 degrees in the last couple of hours with this rain coming in. is it's falling quickly out there with the rain still falling outside. I hope that will eventually offer some relief for the players. The air conditioning systems will be fully engaged in here for sure.
No kidding. Djere is frustrated again.
Yeah.
Second serve look to get to 15-40.
Juice.
Puzzling.
Well, he spent some time out on the West Coast this year around the Indian Wells. Spent some good time in Los Angeles. Maybe he got a couple double doubles in and out because he just threw in a couple here.
That's
always recommend that for people
good.
from out of town. You got to hit in and out burger, a double double. Just don't want to do it on Arthur Ashe Stadium.
Animal style. Has to be.
Nice.
Advantage Djokovic.
Novak. He puts himself in some tough spots in this game, but then he just serves his way out of it.
Let's for service.
Great plan by Djere, and it's a double hit for Djokovic because he spent energy trying to win that point. And now he's in the corner. Regroup him with the towel, trying to get some oxygen and try and get out of this first service game in the second set. But great signs if you're a Novak fan, Ted. He is sliding on that right knee like there's nothing wrong with it.
Sliding. The U.S. Open. Hardcourt. I heard that. Slipping too.
Advantage
You think
Djere.
Djere's playing it worked to, obviously he wins the point with all the slices.
Well, if you hit the slice, it's hard for Novak to be aggressive, right? If you keep the ball down low on his backhand, it's going to allow you to stay neutral in the rally. I think it's about point extension at this point for Djere, right?
Okay.
Try and keep it physical out here. It's probably his best chance is to just wear him down.
Let's for service.
Djere's doing a really nice job of managing his unforced error count tonight. He's not being overly aggressive. He's being hyper patient. He has more winners than unforced errors, and Novak can't say the same.
Man, pop one there. 121.
Juice.
That's now 4 for 4 service winners on break points from Novak. 2 to the tee and then 2 out wide. Can't hit a better spot than that. Watch Djere's shot selection in rallies like that. And he's just going big pace to big targets on those shots. He didn't incorporate the slice there. He was banging it, but he wasn't risking it. He was willing to hit it more central and just play a longer rally. That's why he's keeping his unforced error count pretty low relative to the man he's playing. First time he sees a second serve on a break point.
About that. Back. Charging behind.
Juice.
What a shot. Well, Djokovic going to his left there with the man who's always been the closest human I've ever seen to Gauff. And at 37, he still has a lot of that in him.
It's taken its toll on him with these conditions, but he has that up his sleeve when he needs it. It's not something he was able to rely on at Wimbledon. It was outrageous that he made the final given his lack of confidence in his movement on the most dangerous surface the players play on all year long, no less.
Let's second service.
His movement to me was substantially different at the Olympics. So much more confidence and comfort and aggression. And I watched him play from courtside in a practice session a couple days ago as he escapes that game. And it was wonderful to hear the sounds of him sliding aggressively into the corners. That was music to every Djokovic fan's ears there that day.
2-1 for Ruud on serve in the fourth.
Normally that's an inconvenience, but given the extreme weather today, it would have been a relief if I were in their shoes. Get me out of this heat and humidity. Let me come back tomorrow when it's comfortable. That's what I would imagine that they'd be thinking. The only exception to that is if you're a player who feels like you're fitter than the other and you have an advantage and you want to use that in the moment.
Well, I was just going to say, now if I'm Monfils at 37, I'm thinking, yeah, I'll take my shot, come back and play a set and a half tomorrow. Hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah, the philosophy is you don't have to like the heat. You just have to hate it less than your opponent. Second row in the blue shirt, that's Mark Madden. That's Novak's new manager. Came on board late last year. So he's managing Brand Djokovic, and they've been very active building out what the future for Novak as an ambassador will be when his playing days are over. They're very active. As Djokovic becomes more active here in this game, trying to wrestle an early break.
15-13.
He spent a lot of energy this year on off weeks doing a lot of promotional work and a lot of groundwork for what probably the next 40 years of his life will look like. I would imagine with the eye of becoming someone like an Arnold Palmer type figure that still is super viable commercially and present in a way that Federer's going to be as well.
Exactly. That would be the tennis standard right now.
Sure. Yeah, and Serena too.
And Serena, exactly.
30-all.
Because he's not going to play forever, but his legacy is going to be around forever. So how can he capitalize on that? He's a hard-working fella on and off the court. Documentary certainly will be coming down the pike at some point, telling his story with his imprint on it. Federer will be doing the same, I imagine. He's already done the one on his final days as Djokovic gets to break point here. Djere looks like he needs a different racket.
Let's see if he can get one with about a 128. Bolton facing the break point.
They've both been great at saving break points with serves.
Look where Djokovic is playing that point. How deep.
Juice.
Well, maybe Djokovic starting to find that fuel. Reacting towards his team there.
There was really not much he could do. That was an aggressive second serve, 103 miles an hour, with great depth.
Advantage.
And then
Djere.
a big forehand to boot behind it. He was really just a passenger on that point. Djere did everything right. So that expression of frustration is situational. It's not necessarily about that point particularly. He just wants off this court in a hurry. And Djere's not letting him get there.
Game.
Great save
Djere.
again.
One game all. Second set.
Did you watch the Federer documentary the last 3 weeks?
I was just
2 weeks.
thinking like, no, and I haven't seen it yet.
It's worth it.
Is it?
Yeah. Well, you know him. You covered him. Getting instructions barked at him. I think you'll enjoy it because it's nice to hear Mirka. We rarely heard Mirka talk about Roger and their time and what it all meant. It's pretty well done. But it's just the very end. They don't tell the story of Roger, which is an immense story, probably a Messi type story if you've seen that one, or a Senna type story if you've seen those episode documentaries.
I would think the brilliant writer Chris Clary would have had some conversations already, because he's pretty much written the definitive book on Roger.
Yeah.
But that would be could be a basis for what you're talking about.
Someone's going to do it,
15-all.
and Roger's going to be in control of it.
Yes.
And I think the same will be with Novak. There might be unauthorized attempts, but there will be an official one coming from his camp at some point. It's they're both such remarkable stories. They deserve to be told for generations.
Djokovic just slipped back into this run again, losing first serve.
And he has, right? Under 30% first serves in play in this set. 4 out of 17 so far. It's a lot of serving for. I don't know that he's new to the camp. I need to figure out who he is. I've been trying to find him on the internet.
Bold.
He's angry. All here. I've not gotten a chance yet to see Being Serena, but I'm going to spend some time after this tournament checking out that little documentary piece on her as well. So, a lot of good material out there for us tennis fans.
I'm glad to hear that break point was a letdown. So
they didn't get access to all the players that they needed to tell the real story. Filming a documentary this year.
Jim, to yours about how hard it is to finish.
Gold standard point from the gold medalist, but he exerted a lot of effort to get the result he needed. 19 shots.
Yeah, and he probably thought 4 or 5 of them should have ended the point.
Exactly right. Serve clock just got started, so it's at 15 now. Started about 10 seconds ago, so he will work it down to 0. It's in the player's eye line in the 4 corners of the court, so he can look at Djere and see it on the right hand side, and he'll work it down all the way to the bone. That hurts though, because then you got to grind for 2 more points instead of sitting down.
Juice.
It's like a board of directors sitting in the front row. You can see they're all looking at each other and saying, "Don't you agree with me? Don't you think so?"
He is such a fascinating character, Novak. He's such a perfectionist, clearly. He's hurting physically, but he's getting to gain point.
It is the
advantage.
You're simplifying what's probably a longer conversation, but it's the complexity of the guys. You get to know him over time. I knew him much more in his earlier years, but open-minded, always open.
Yes,
wanting input. Remember once years back, he came to me and asked me for John McEnroe's phone number. He wanted to talk to John about net play, playing a lefty because he saw Rafa coming up.
Yeah.
I mean, it was that kind of willingness to take on. And look, we all know his beliefs. He's very strong with them, and he's paid a price for them.
Yeah,
and been willing to do so.
What I've found fascinating about these on-court exchanges with his team is it's not just been the tennis coaches, the Ivanisevics or the Beckers that he's asked for input. I remember specifically at Cincinnati last year in the final that Panici, his strength and conditioning coach, was like miming how he should be hitting the backhand. As break point comes up here for Djere, and Djokovic wanted that input. He was asking for it. Why is my backhand not working? So there's a new face in the hot seat.
Boy, that miss a few points ago, you talked about, Jim, that was, now he could pay an ultimate price for it. Djere has his third chance in the set to break.
How invested will Novak be physically in this point? He needs it. But sometimes in these moments, he just wants a quick result. And errors can flow. Djere's got to be ready for potentially a big serve here.
Nope. The return was long. +1 rather than Novak was long, and Djere breaks for the first time in the match.
Djere leads by 2-1. Second set. First set, Djokovic.
So let's see how this develops. Djokovic down a break now. Does he shift gears with his tactics? Nothing he can do about that. Great 1-2 from Laslo. Oftentimes Djokovic, when he's down a break, or up a break for that matter, anything but even, really steps on the pedal and starts to go after his ground strokes with more aggression, almost vitriol. Djere snuffing out any offensive opportunities in this game so far.
Djere.
We've seen back-to-back matches on Ash tonight where the favored players.
Djere leads by
serve
3-1.
contagion going on there. Coco Gauff couldn't get her first serve established. Won despite of that. You can converse about that on all the social platforms you saw there. Hashtag US Open. And Djokovic is going through the same, just 43% for the match first serve. 6 doubles.
Great opportunity for Djere to mimic Novak at his best and just lock it down here, limit unforced errors, try and play long points and see if Djokovic will get twitchy and do just what he did and try and just finish points early, make errors. This could easily be a 6-1 set for Djere here, and Novak just hitting the reset button. Could go the other way if he hits his spots, but there could be a slew of unforced errors on the horizon. If Djere makes them, Djokovic will get back in this set. That's a horrible miss at love 15. Those little moments matter. You've got to be there to take them against a player of Djokovic's stature.
What a miss there.
30-15.
Djere should be trying to play 15-shot rallies right now. Unless he has an absolute green light special ball high up in the strike zone that he can put away for a winner, he should be just trying to play physical points.
So you hear these things that I keep thinking, against Djokovic? Yeah.
Circumstantial.
Yes. Play long points against Djokovic?
Well, this is just an idiotic game from Djere.
Yeah.
14.
Just an absolute brain freeze.
So Novak often doesn't need gifts, but he'll accept that one.
Djere leads by 3-2. Second sets.
His match record, an elbow issue in the spring that derailed him. Djere lost a ton of points just in the last month. He's
59.
ranks 109 right now, which would not have put him in the field, but at the cut date, he was inside the top 100.
That was his big result last year, was the Hamburg 500 final. And he made the third round here last year where he led Novak 2 sets to love. So he's defending those points, so his ranking is even further down in the live rankings as a result of that. So he's got some work to do. If he doesn't have a great tournament here, he's going to be struggling to get into a lot of big tournaments for a while.
40-15.
Most notably the Australian Open. You need to be right around 100 or better at the cut date, which will be in December. So that's got to be his target for the rest of the year. Try and get back to double digits.
It's been one of the great themes that we've talked about this week is if you're in the top 100 right now, that's $400,000.
Yeah,
to start the year.
Pretty much.
4 majors.
Look at that.
Djere.
Didn't even move.
New balls, please. Djere leads by 4-2. Second set.
Djokovic has just been made to work so much more in his service games than Djere, and you can just see it in that last point where he just didn't even try to get back into position. He's in energy management mode and has been, Ted, from basically like the second or third game.
That's a great call. Just look at him again there. You know, you don't say he's just getting ready for the third set, but he looks like it.
So why is he struggling here at 1 hour and 40 minutes and has been for over an hour now when he played nearly 6 hours in Australia in a night match against Rafa Nadal in the finals and was fine up until about the 4.5 hour mark? And the answer is humidity. It's dry in Australia, and it is thick as thieves right here, and that is just sucking all the energy out of his body. And this match is nowhere near as physical point by point as playing Nadal. Not even close. Serving and volleying on the second serve. I mean, this is.
Love that.
that past is any guide, there will be ebbs and flows for Djokovic, and he'll have moments where he'll look totally fine. Then he might descend back into this rut again. But Djere's job is to be even keeled and level, because he's handling the conditions better right now. But God, if he makes unforced errors from this position, he doesn't deserve to win the second set, Djere.
Close to thinking about these as set points for Djere.
Yeah, these are. I don't think there's a way home in the set for Novak. I don't think he'll expend effort if he goes down 5-2. He'll just get ready for the third. My prediction. This is I'd say this is a 50-50 chance of a double fault here. What a 110-mile-an-hour second serve certainly was. He risked it for the biscuit and got a nice bite there. But some people at home might be thinking, well, what do you mean Novak's not going to try in this set? Why would he concede? Novak is experienced. He knows the long game. He doesn't care about winning this set. He cares about winning 2 more sets. And if it's going to cost him more energy,
cross-sport analogies. If you're a basketball fan, I had the words for load management.
Right. That's it.
That was so. Djere not home free yet in the second set.
Leads
Still has the edge 4-3.
First set's Djokovic.
Played with a late laborious feel to each point. Djokovic in particular.
So critical for Djere to stay ahead in these games, because it might dissuade Djokovic from spending energy to try and get back in the set. But if he gets down love 15, love 30, that's when Novak will hit the green light. Let's go. It's time to get back on serve. Maybe he still can rescue this set. Now it's go time.
Well, Djokovic 15-40 to now love 30. Djokovic finish a swing here.
Yeah, that 110-mile-an-hour second serve was risky and rewarding at the same time.
First service.
It's basically a coin flip whether that was going in or out, and they got it. Now Djere is in trouble. Not out of the jam yet, but that was pretty awesome from Laslo, because Novak was in this point, slides into this one, and didn't guess correctly on this final forehand. Guessed right on the first one, but he kept pounding it into the cross-court forehand corner.
Watching this, I'm thinking to the point from about an hour and a half ago that the speed of this quarter, which was designed by the USTA to fit strictly in the medium fast range, is not playing. It's playing medium tonight. There's nothing fast, is there? So, Novak has a chance here to throw that load management conversation right out the window. Point to level the set. Only his second chance in this set.
He's still hurting physically, but the champion's instincts are kicking in now. He's smelling blood.
Juice.
Djere gives Novak back a little bit of his medicine. His 10th ace.
Djere
hasn't played a perfect set. Djere, he's missed some opportunities when returning to really make his mark on this set, put it out of reach, but he's done exceptionally well on this game, holding the line and limiting his unforced error count. Djere looks hurt physically.
Combine, Jim, your point of Djere playing, maybe not risking And in this set, Djokovic said a total of 5 winners. 5.
It's minute for him. Djere's, something's going on with him right now, too. He's hunched over after that serve like his stomach hurts.
Point, 82-mile-an-hour second serve.
Djere.
Yeah, that forehand probably had more pace on it than the second serve. He went after that final shot. Not much pace on that first serve either, Ted. Just 103 miles an hour into the net.
Juice.
Another interesting turn, perhaps, if indeed there's something brewing with Djere.
The physio's still courtside. He's been there ever since he came out to treat the abdominal area of Djokovic.
So back to the Djokovic opening.
Advantage, Djokovic.
Djere just tapped his abdomen twice as he was looking to his bench.
4 games all. Second
As
set.
the worm turns.
And the same, some good news that actually Casper Ruud and Gael Monfils are still here, and they're going back out on the grandstand court. They had posted on the Masters scoreboard. They had posted up not before 5 p.m. for tomorrow, but I guess that was premature.
Storm moved through quickly.
Can you take your seats quickly, please? Thank you. Behind the place.
Probably a feature of the new U.S. Open, a little more free movement for the fans at the end of games to give them a chance not to miss as much tennis when they step away for a moment. Players just pausing for a beat there, let them, the ones that are in the low bowl, get out of their sight lines, and Djere didn't let that forehand get away from him. He went after that. Another rocket.
Pitino.
A lot of turnaround from that 15-40 second serve a few games ago. Djere had a chance to get to 5-2 with a double break, and now he's in a dogfight.
40-50.
Djere's losing his mud over there, freaking out about whatever's bothering his body at the moment.
6, 7 minutes. Put a whole different look on this.
Yep, and all that does is give energy to his countryman. Djokovic just powering up off of that frustration.
This spun from what seems certain to be a one set apiece, and now
leads by 5 games to 4.
A lot of concerns. Djere hold a serve here.
Djere's going to have his midsection looked at here and treated on the court as well.
So medical timeout for Djere at a critical moment now. Unexpected. We seem destined for a set apiece, and now Djere in a must hold. Does this change for Djere, the way he's been playing?
Well, it looks like he's going nuclear now, right? And that should trigger Djokovic to go into lockdown mode and just be ready to be a backboard and wait for the errors to follow. Djokovic was desperate to play shorter points a little while ago. Now, given the extra rest after the medical timeout, he's primed to play his normal game. That's a quality response from Laslo here. Not known to be a net rushing player, but nice feel on that drop volley, getting the job done. Djere's had that going for him. It's 11 aces. It's interesting. I feel like we've had a role reversal here without much of an intermission in the play. And now Djokovic, a point to take command.
30-40. Thank you. second
missed
set.
it.
Djokovic.
Wow, Djere played a terrific point
By
until
6
the
games to
end.
4. Djokovic leads by 2 sets to love.
And Djokovic, Lazarus again. Seemed out of it, and he's up.
Love.
Question no longer is about his body as much as it is Laslo Djere's mind.
Love.
It's a long road for Djere from here, particularly if the problem is, acute.
Love.
That's the visage of a guy that knows, man. Let something slip.
Game. Djokovic. First game, third set.
So right there, you talk about things flipping. Djokovic just held in love with 4 first serves. All of a sudden,
Everything just feeling a little bit better, isn't it?
Yeah.
2 sets to love, a little wind in this sail. Kind of wounded opponent on the other side. Mr. Momentum has moved and is firmly with Novak now.
Love 15.
Not getting as much pop on his serve, whether he's protecting it or just unable to. That first serve just 102 miles an hour.
Love 30.
Cue the Jaws music here.
yes, good. 6 straight points for Djokovic to start the set.
Love 14.
Well, it's getting late early.
Yes.
2 hours and 15 minutes. And
2 nights in a row we've been able to quote Yogi.
hey, there you go.
I dropped it in last.
This is looking good for Novak now. He's walking to the net. This match might be over. Yeah, it's over. It got late right now.
Wow.
It's over.
Yes, it is.
Crowd doesn't realize
Ladies and
it,
gentlemen,
but
unfortunately, due
Yes,
to
it is.
injury,
Laslo
Mr.
Djere
Djere can no longer play. Game 10 match.
So
Djokovic.
close. Pushing Djokovic so close to splitting the first 2 sets, and within 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, it's over. And Djokovic is into the 3rd round.
what a ridiculous reversal of fortune that was. Djokovic looked like he was hurting badly physically, struggling, yelling at his bench. They're yelling back at him.